G'day everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is Turbo Tristan here, and today we're back with the Evo 4. Now this project has been one that I didn't expect to blow out this long and take this long to do, but it did. And today we're going to go through where we're at, and it's all back together. Everything is done, but why won't it run? That's what we're going to try and figure out today. So stick around, I'll show you what we've done to the Evo since the last video. Yes, it has been a while. We sort of stepped away and did some other stuff, but check it out. I'm sure you'll love it. I think it looks awesome. Everything's come together brilliantly. We just need the thing to run. So since the last video, you wouldn't have seen any of the intercooler stuff on there with the new front mount. That's a 3-inch core. A little bit bigger, only about, it's probably 50 mil wider and 50 mil taller than the factory one. All the pipe work has been done. Now, all the pipe work was custom fabricated by my mate, Matty Rhodes. It's perfect. Check it out. We've got the 3-inch intake from the front of the turbo straight in. Little sneak peek of the EXEDY clutch down there. And we've got the 2.5-inch piping up and over, down, underneath, in. He's gone and customized the end tanks of the cooler just to clear the bumper on both sides. And then it dips down to 1.25 inch down here, flares up to 2 into 2.5. And it gradually grows all the way through the pipes to 2.5 into the throttle body. He's gone ahead and put the IAT sensor in there for me, back down there, and an extra 1/8 NPT port. If I want to run any extra fittings in there, I can do that as well. But for now, we don't really need them. We have had Ollie Mechanic over from Rex's channel. We're all just friends here. We just share all the buddies and all the boys. Mechanic's been around. He's helped me with some wiring. He's done all of the extra plugs, added in all the plugs that you need to add in when you're running a Haltech. The boost controller, the wideband. He's redone some of the wiring with the throttle position sensor, the speed sensor, and just changed a whole bunch of plugs. We got brand new connector plugs from Mr. Connector and replaced all the ones on this side, which were all damaged from being yanked out. So they're all been redone. We have also fitted up the Endurant battery and the battery bracket. That's all done. We've made an earth line from here to the engine, from the engine to the frame rail. And then from this side, we've gone from the block to the frame rail as well. So we've got plenty of earths, another earth back there. We're gonna put on some extra ones. We've got the earth from the fuse boxes into the chassis down here as well. Bonnet's back on. It's all full of oil. It's all full of water. It's got gear oil. It's got diff oil. All the oils are in there. It's ready to drive. It's got a full tank of fuel. It does have an oil leak, which I'll show you in a moment. We'll fix that. I just want it to run first. Once it runs, I'm gonna drop all of that oil anyway, because it's just like a first start oil. I'm gonna get rid of it all. It's just some cheap stuff, just to let it run through the engine just once and cycle. Then we're gonna clear all that. We've got brand new iridium plugs. We fouled them once trying to start the car, put some new ones in. They're probably a bit wet now. Let me show you under the car. I'll show you the rest of the intercooler piping and what we've got going on there. And then I'll talk more about why it's not starting. Up in the air, we've done the oil cooler, which is a couple of rows extra. So it's 3 extra rows bigger in size with all the dash 10 lines, with line separators, all new banjo fittings, all done. I went to the Wreckers and grabbed just some regular Lancer splash guards. They have gone on absolutely perfect. I haven't finished putting the bar on yet. I've got to do the bolts up here and just tuck that back in, but it's almost ready to go. Here you can see the intercooler piping that we've done down there. So it goes from a 1.75 inch to 2 inch to 2.5, in, out, 2.5, all the way up and into the engine bay, which you've seen at the top. That's the intercooler done. It looks awesome. It fills everything up and it's absolutely perfect. We've also put on the new plates for the club reg, but the oil leak is coming from this bottom fitting from the drain and also the top fitting from the drain. Now, allegedly, according to Matt, who works on lots of Evos, although I ran genuine gaskets top and bottom for those, apparently you need to seal around the nuts and bolts that go into the turbo and into the sump. So I've got to get some special washers that have rubber oil seals in them to seal that from leaking around the bolt. Pretty annoying. To do that, it means take off the intercooler pipe, take off the starter motor, probably drop the dump pipe, which is gonna suck, but I can just do it with those two bolts. I'm not gonna do the whole thing. That'll give me enough access to get up in there and have a look. And hopefully that's the last time I need to do that and we can get ready to drive the thing. I'm hanging to drive it. We're not going for crazy power. We just want smooth delivery, reliable, fresh everything, around 200 to 230 kilowatts at the absolute most. That's it. Cruiser, 98, nothing fancy, just basically a stock plus car. So intercooler, intake, exhaust, coil packs, tune, that's it. I'm not asking for much, but come on, give me something. As you can tell, I'm pretty frustrated as to why it's not running. Now, check out these earth straps we've got here. Nice big fat ones to the body. And I've ground away all the paint down to shiny, shiny metal. And you can see up there as well where I've done those other ones. Now, that could rust pretty quickly. I'm not putting any paint on there until we get the car running. Once we do, I will brush touch that with some KBS and get that sealed back up again against the rust. Pretty frustrating, but we've done the same. There's another earth strap goes up there. The only other slight issue I'm having is the rear handbrake. Now it's all back together. Everything went back together pretty easily. I didn't miss anything. I checked some YouTube videos to make sure I was doing it right. So the YouTubers also checked the YouTube videos. Pretty confident I did it right. When I yank on the handbrake, it goes all the way up. So whether it needs adjusting on the inside of the car or whether it needs adjusting at the drum, I've tried to adjust the drum. I don't know if I'm out of adjustment or if I'm doing it wrong or if it's stuck or something. But I'm going to try and adjust it from the inside and see if that helps. We don't want the handbrake too tight because it'll drag and then it'll cause heat. Then the other brakes won't work. Plus it'll wear out my handbrake shoes to a point and it'll just suck. So I don't want these too tight. They still spin just fine. It's not really dragging. The dragging sound you can hear is the rusty discs, the ones that aren't PROTEX. These have been sitting. I couldn't get these discs anywhere, so I had to reuse the old ones. I did get them machined so they're perfectly smooth surface, but the rust gets to them straight away. And you can see here the PROTEX ones, they've been on the exact same time, but no rust because they haven't been driven on, and also this coating hasn't been worn off. Yeah, go PROTEX. Something else I need your guys' help with if you're an Evo guy and you know how to pull these things apart and put them back together is I've got two of these plastic guards. Now these were on the car. They both have identical holes there. They're both slightly different shaped, but they are almost a mirror of each other. Slightly different shape as you can see there. So it's got the flat section, that one's got the curved section. This hole I thought would be a clue, but I cannot figure out where that goes. Judging by the silver, I thought it was in the back somewhere. They look like some kind of a duct for something, possibly, I don't know, in the back of the wheel well. Can someone help me? Where do these go? They're in perfect condition. They've still even got the clips in them. So they need to go back on the car. I've got no clue where they go. Let me show you the issue with what's going on with the car and why it won't start. All right, so key in. Fuel pump goes. We are connected to the Haltech. Now I don't have the battery connected to the battery charger because I'm not confident anything's going to happen, but watch what happens. For some reason we've got injector duty time is on now. I don't know why. And we've got the battery voltage. Watch what happens when I crank it. So I'm told by a couple of tuner friends of mine, the guys at Haltech included, I've had them on the phone, Haltechs won't actually start unless you can maintain above 10 volts when you cycle the car on, when you kick the engine over. As you saw there, it went immediately down to like 8, came up to about 10.2 for a split second, and then back down, and it just got lower and lower the longer I held it on. I give up. I don't know why. We've had the battery charged up, down. We've had it on a jumper with my ute hooked up to it. It's got a massive battery. I've hooked 2 other batteries to it. I've used jumper packs to it to try and help keep the voltage up, just so we can get it running. I know whatever the voltage issue is not going to fix itself and magically. It's still going to happen every time you start the car, but if we can get it running, we can do all the other stuff we need to do, change the oil, make sure everything runs, check all the sensors, do a little bit of a check, just let the car idle and warm up and cool down once. That's what we want to do. We can change out the battery or add more earths, positives, negatives, whatever we've got to do. But at the moment, it won't even start. So I don't know what's wrong with it. This is what we've tried. We've used Zach Boldy's tune. He's running the same computer with the same sensors. He does have extra sensors, but I've got all the same sensors. He's just got some extra ones on top. We're running the same coil packs, the same fuel pump, pretty similar sized injectors, but we've allowed for that in the Haltech software. Everything else is the same. We're both running the same wideband. So I've put his map in, tried to start it, same issue. We went in and turned off the flex fuel sensor, the oil pressure switch, the fuel pressure switch, and stuff that Zach has on his. It's additional over and above what I've got on mine. He has those extra things in because he's running E85 and more boost. So he's got a high boost, a low boost. He's got a rotary dial. We've turned all those features off. We just want 98, 15 to 18 PSI, 200 kilowatts, not 300 like Zach could be running. So we don't know why that's not working. We use the factory map that was in the Haltech software. That's not working. So here's a couple of things that people, mostly tuners, I'm not just asking randoms on Facebook. You should never do that. Ask people that are in the know. Ask people that tune these cars and work on these cars. And these are some suggestions that those guys that I've reached out to have offered me, which I'm very grateful for. You should never just ask someone and expect them to run to your rescue and help you out. But luckily, I've got a lot of friends, a lot of people that I help out, they help me out, vice versa. So firstly, I started with the guys at Haltech. They said everything looks perfect on all of their screens, everything they can see when they remote into the car, it looks perfect. They don't know why the voltage is dropping. They agree that that is the issue. They're in Sydney, so 1,000 kilometers away, so I can't expect them to help me from what they can see on a computer screen. Next, I've had another tuner friend of mine, Chongi from Chong Data. He used to own an Evo. He's tuned hundreds of them, and he tunes all kinds of cars. He had a look at it, checked through all the settings, made sure they were correct. Same issue, battery voltage, no good. I've cleaned up all the spots where the earth leads go to try and help earth it out, ground it out, so it's not going to drop any voltage or lose any of the battery's cranking amps. Still nothing. He suggested we pull the plugs out, see if it spins faster without the plugs in, to see if there's some kind of compression issue and it's just draining and not spinning properly. A bigger battery with better performance, so more cold cranking amps. This battery's brand new, it's awesome, it's got everything you could possibly want. It may or may not be too small. This one has 330 cold cranking amps, so we might need to go to like 400 or something like that. I don't know. Maybe a bigger battery, see if there's any issues with the compression. The other thing it could be as well, I could have over tightened all the bearings on the crank. I don't think so. I did them exactly to the specs, and I used the old bolts and nuts from the rods that were in there. I didn't pull the engine apart. All I did was just replace the bearings and just click them down, torque them all back to spec, put it all back together with new gaskets and seals. Worst case, I lift it up, I take the exhaust off, I pull the oil pan off, I fix those 2 oil leaks at the same time, loosen off all of the bolts on the main caps and also the rods, and just re-torque them again from underneath while the engine and everything's together. It's not the end of the world, although yes, it is a massive pain in the ass and it's dirty and filthy and whatever, but something that I might need to do just to quadruple check everything and make sure that I didn't over tighten anything or nothing's stuck. But the entire crank was totally smooth. There was no marks in it. You couldn't catch your nail in any of those journals. Everything was smooth and polished. It didn't need anything on it. So I was happy to just run the fresh bearings in there again. I didn't do any other mods, didn't pull anything else apart. So again, I'm not sure why that's like that. Fingers crossed it's just a battery and we just put a beefy battery in there that's going to hold it on. The other thing that we could possibly do is put the factory ECU back in and see if it'll run and start on that. Put the factory injectors back in and yeah, just see if it will run on the factory ECU and factory injectors. Plug back in the airflow meter, which is gross, but may have to do that and just see what happens. But I'm at my wit's end. Everything is brand new. Everything is done. It looks amazing. It's got every opportunity in its life to be the best it can be, but it's not starting. I'm frustrated. So please guys, help me out. Let me know what you think. It is a mystery. Could also be something just really dumb that I've forgotten to do or not connected, but I've had my wiring guru, Ollie Mechanic, come over and touch everything, click everything in and out, make sure that's all good. We've checked all the fuses, all that's all good, all the relays, everything should be absolutely sweet. We got fuel pressure, we got fuel, we've got spark, we've got brand new GTR coil packs, brand new Denso Iridium plugs. Everything should be good. Anyway, now I'm just rambling, hoping for a miracle. But if someone can help me out in the comments below, let me know your thoughts. Or if you got someone you can recommend to come down and take a look that's in southeast Melbourne, I would be forever in their debt. And yeah, jump on the channel, show us how it's done, help everyone, help me, help the world, and let's get this thing on the road. But that's it for now. Don't forget, spool up, bring the boost. Everything you need is on spoolup.com.au. We'll see you in the next video. Hopefully this thing is running. The pipework looks amazing. Thanks again to Next Level Fabrications. Thanks again to Ollie Mechanic for all his work there, and all the other guys that lent a hand and helped me out, just troubleshooting some ideas and things. Really, really appreciate it. Cheers guys, thank you.